Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look at race number 8 at Woodbine on Woodbine Mile Saturday. It is a one-turn mile race like the Woodbine Mile, but this is for the 2-year-old fillies. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 1 Natalma, an important prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. $500,000 is the purse for the Natalma, and we have a gigantic field. Dazzling Star, the number 1, is your 3-1 morning line favorite, and understandably so. Charlie Appleby, who has the favorite in the Woodbine Mile, going into Saturday, he's won his last 7 starters at Woodbine, all in Grade 1s on the turf.
Yeah, this filly's looked pretty good too. She's run 3 times, all at shorter distances over in England, but she's run some really nice races over there. I'm assuming that she'll handle the stretch out to the mile here just fine. Dan, she's interested in here. There's another shipper from France that Chad Brown now has. That horse is interested in here. And then everybody in between these 2 horses in this field, they're all interested in here. This is a really, really fun race.
Got to figure with 15 2-year-old fillies in this race, there's got to be some speed. So we'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector, and surprise, surprise, there's the red bar, which indicates a fast pace. And I agree with Timeform US. I think the 2 Bolt NRE stretching out with sprint speed is the speed of the speed.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, there are a bunch of horses stretching out in here. So I won't be surprised if it's the 2. I wouldn't be shocked if it was somebody else. I do think there's a chance this pace is pretty fast, though.
Dazzling Star is the number 1 going out for Appleby, and we talked about the success rate that Godolphin has had at Woodbine over the years. Looking at Dazzling Star just as an individual, I haven't exactly been so blown away by her races that I might want to take a short price on her in this big field, especially breaking from the rail, because some of these European horses don't break. And if she doesn't, she could find herself in a box behind 8 or 9 horses, and all of a sudden the trip's got to work out.
That's certainly something that you can concern yourself with if this horse is a short price, Dan. Did show some talent over there, though, at least in my opinion. I mean, the debut is one I think you just want to give her on the all-weather surface. Yeah. She was super green and super wide in that race. She came back. I thought she was really impressive when she broke her maiden. I mean, she hammered that field with a nice stretch run, and I thought she ran fine. They moved her into a Group 3 last time. She chased a front-running winner. She got a little bit tired at the end, but it wasn't a poor performance. I don't know. She looks pretdy good to me. I just don't know if I would want to take a short price on her.
She'll stretch out to the mile, but she has the pedigree to last at least this distance. The 2 is Bolt Noray. We're expecting her to be on the lead, as she was last time out in the Catch a Glimpse, going 6.5 furlongs. Now, she set a legitimate pace that day, and she got tired against some of these. So considering the pace scenario, considering the fact that she's got to stretch out, I'm a little bit concerned about her ability to get this distance against this company with this pace scenario.
I have the same concerns that, I mean, even if you want to give her some extra credit for the Catch a Glimpse, because that pace was solid, why is anything going to be different in here? There's even more speed in this race. It's a bigger field. It's a better field. And she's going to have, if they want to do it a different way, she's got to prove that.
Dancing Duchess is the number 3 going out for trainer Mark Cassie. She's hit the board in her last 3 races, including against the boys last time out in the Soaring Free, a race where she only was beaten a neck. Now, I like this filly's tactical speed. She's not speed crazy. She's not a one-run closer. She can work out her own trip under Emma Jane Wilson.
I like that about her, too. You're right, that Soaring Free was a race for open to colts anyway, but it was the fillies that dominated in there. I don't know. She ran pretty well in there, Dan. I don't know what you thought about that race. I thought she had a real shot at it through the stretch. And to me, she just got turned away by Golden Canary, who's also back in this field.
The 4 is Brock Nardini, going out for trainer George Weaver, who's just having a sensational year with his 2-year-olds. Here's one that made a career debut against fellow New York breds and made a big sweeping move on the turn into contention, and she just keeps rolling along. Now, I'm not sure she beat the strongest field, but this is how you want to do it in a debut, going 2 turns, going away with a 72 buyer speed figure.
Yeah, I'll say the same thing. I mean, she just absolutely dominated this field. Now, when you go back and watch the full replay of this race, you'll see there were a bunch of trips behind her. There are a few horses that just got totally stopped behind her through the stretch. I don't think that was going to matter, Dan. This filly really ran in there. She sat on the outside. She blasted to the lead. She kept going. It was only against New York breds. I agree with you. It might not have been the greatest field in the world. She looked good winning.
Here's a sleeper candidate, the number 5, Miss Tartan. There's a lot working against Miss Tart. She's stretching out from 5.5 to a mile. She's stepping out of the maiden ranks. She's only started once. But that race against restricted maidens at Colonial was very visually impressive at the 5.5.
It was very visually impressive. I like that she did it without just being sent right to the front and wiring the field. She sat a little bit and then she looked good winning. She had trained really well up to that debut and then she ran to the works. I don't know. I'm not going to knock her, Dan. She's going to be some kind of big price in here, but she's got a lot to prove still.
Several of these are cross-entered in the race for the boys, the Grade 1 this summer. One of them is the 6, Aerosa. Let's watch her last race, the Catch a Glimpse, where she beat Ready to Jam. You're going to notice that Aerosa is sort of dropping down towards the inside in the yellow cap. Ready to Jam's in the brown cap and sort of the checkered sleeves, sort of stuck in between horses. Aerosa for a second got stopped, but now the rail opens up. She has a clear run, and she's going to get on through while the runner-up has to continually weave her way through traffic.
Yeah, both the winner and the runner-up were in a precarious position there through the upper stretch, but ultimately it worked out just a little bit better for this filly, and she got through in time. She made the lead and she held on. She still ran really well. I thought she ran really well when she broke her maiden. Also, Dan, she did that on the lead. She did it a different way in the Catch a Glimpse. Those are both positives as far as I'm concerned. I think she's pretty good. I wonder though if Ready to Jam might not be the horse you want out of that race.
Simply in Front is the number 7. She looked pretty good in her career debut, going 7/8 of a mile, not an easy debut distance. She finished second that day, and I thought all in all it was a decent performance because it looked like she was on the move early, Mike, before flattening out just a bit late.
Yeah, I thought she ran pretty well in here too, and it's also worth pointing out that she is going to get through between and from instant it looks like she's going to be really dangerous, and then she just doesn't really finish that hard. But she did get wired by the favorite in this race, Dan, and that horse had an experience edge on her. I thought she ran pretty well in here, but it's not like they're bringing her back in some kind of easy spot. She's got to work it out for her here.
Solid effort, though, for the debut. She is taking a big step up in class. Ready to Jam, we saw her finish that troubled second last time out in the Catch a Glimpse. Her prior race was against boys in a maiden special weight. She finished that race off nicely to win. I don't mind her stretching out to a mile, and in a race with some pace, she should get something to run at. Now it's time for her to get a trip.
Yeah, needs to get a trip this time. It's funny that you say that too, Deb, because I agree with you. I mean, we just looked at the Catch a Glimpse. She ran really well in there and was probably unlucky not to win. Even 2 starts back, it's not like she got a great trip in that race. I mean, she was in a lot of traffic around the turn. Ultimately, she had plenty of time and she got clear and she really ran that day. I really liked her maiden win. I thought she ran really well last time too. I think she's going to be pretty tough in here if she can get a trip.
Here's another Cassie-trained entrant, the 9, Go With Gusto, finishing first in the career debut, going a mile on the inner turf at Woodbine, but is going to be disqualified. We see this horse down towards the rail. This is a stressful trip for a first-time starter, having to work in, having to work out. You saw a horse have to take up when he altered course to the outside. But once Go With Gusto gets into the clear, this last 16th of a mile is huge.
Yeah, agreed. This is kind of a silly disqualification too. I mean, she was much the best in that race. And it's not, you're right there. Not only was she never in a really comfortable position, but it's not easy to keep your momentum up when you have to sort of angle all the way to the outside through the stretch. She did that. She still ran. She was very good first time out.
Trainer Kevin Rice is having a tremendous year. He's going to have the 10. She's fire in here, and she's fire last time out in the Bolton Landing at Saratoga. Showed speed, tired. I thought that was a pretty good field she was in against, but now she's got to stretch out, and she's got to do it in a race with other speeds. The stamina hasn't been there in her 2 starts against winners. What's going to change?
Yeah, I don't know if anything's going to change. And she did look pretty good when she broke her maiden at Belmont going 6, but she just went straight to the front. She was the best speed in that race, and she had plenty left when they came into the stretch. That wasn't the case in her last 2 starts, and it feels like that might not be the case here as they stretch out into a race with plenty of other speed.
I don't think Cherie DeVos is a secret anymore. I think people are starting to realize that she's a very, very good trainer. And the 11, She Feels Pretty, found a great spot for her debut at Ellis Park, and she looked good, grinding it out to win. I thought it was a good performance for a first-time starter going 5.5. And to me, she acts like she wants to go longer.
Yeah, that was my takeaway from her debut too. I liked the run that she put in anyway, just to get there at the end of that race. But it looked to me like maybe 5.5 was even maybe a little too short for her. I liked her debut. I think she can do better in this race, and she might be a fair price.
Considering the connections, the number 12, Ozaro, was a Great price in her career debut at Saratoga. You're getting Christophe Clement at 12-1 with a European bred going 2 turns on the turf. Let's watch Ozara finish this race off. And again, a filly that showed some professionalism. Things are going to work out. She's going to get the split here. But once she is clear, it's up to her to finish things off. And you can see she's really digging for it.
Yeah, she is. The trip did work out in here, but she's running to the wire here. One of the reasons she was such a big price too is because the horse that's running at her right now took all the money for Chad Brown and Klarovich Stables, and she just fights that horse off and wins. The best part of that race to me, Dad, is if you go back and pull the full replay, got over to save ground, and then just all the way up the backstretch, just kept improving her position on her own in hand. She did all the work without being asked to do it, and then she still finished the way that we just saw her finish. That was a really nice debut.
Super mature for a debut runner. The 13 is Dia Matrona, coming in from France, now with Chad Brown. Watched her second start, the maiden win, where she won by 5 lengths, and she looks like a horse that's going to handle American-style racing. She was uncovered on the turn, and then she just kept grinding it out, and she won. Her lead changes were perfect. I think she's going to handle this. The question is, how good is she?
Yeah, that's the question I have too, because like you, I thought she looked really good breaking her maiden the last time she was on the track. She got a great trip in that race, but she really ran, and she's obviously been privately purchased since then. Chad Brown has her now. I guess that just means she takes money in this race, Dan, and I don't think I would want any kind of short price on her, but I thought she looked good winning her last race.
One of the cross entrants is Golden Canary. This is another Cassie trainee. Let's watch her win in the Soaring Free. We talked about the Soaring Free against the boys. Golden Canary got a great trip on the lead. I mean, she went 46-4 to the half mile, and she's just going to be able to hold off the closers in this spot. If she tries these sort of tactics, and I'm not sure she's fast enough to make the lead against this group, but they might be going 10 lengths faster to the half mile, and that could work against her.
Yeah, she won't get the same trip this time. She even looks like she's going to lose focus here at the end of this race, Dan, and get caught. But she digs in at the end. I guess that's to her credit. She got the job done there. I didn't necessarily want to bet her back in this spot just off of the race that we just watched, but maybe she can do better.
I'm not sure I want to completely give up on Rhapsody, although she must break from the farthest of far outside posts, post 15. Her debut was okay, and in that last race, the Soaring Free, they took her off the pace. We talked about the pace being slow. It seemed like she was still staying on at the end. She's going to get a much better race flow. You're going to have to work something out from this post.
Yeah, we'll see if she can get a trip. I mean, there's an argument to be made that she's the horse that you want out of that Soaring Free, because the other 2 horses were right up close on a slow pace, and she had to make up ground on them, and she just couldn't do it. She's gonna have a totally different pace to run at this time.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Natalma. You can go many different ways, and we're going with Ready to Jam. I think 10-1 on the morning line is a great price. I'm not sure we're going to get it, but I like the way she squeezed through in between last time out, and I think she'll get a setup.
Agreed. I like all of her races. I like her stretching out to the mile in here. I think if she gets a trip, she's going to be right there. I don't know if 10-1 is really going to be available, but if it is, I'll take it.
We'll go with Ready to Jam. Mike's going to go with the Godolphin horse second, 8-1-12-13 for Mike, 8-6-11-2 for me in the Grade 1 Natalma. Prep for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf. Good luck.